Good morning, a very good morning, and welcome back to this course, Micro Engineering. So, in today's 17th video lecture tutorial, we are going to solve one more example on double stub matching circuit. As we know, in our previous example, we have solved the first double stub tuner matching example, wherein the first stub we have considered that is located on the load itself. Okay, so we will go ahead and we will solve another example on double stub matching circuit. Now this time what we do is the location of the first stub we are going to place at some distance away from the load, and the same design procedure we will be utilizing as we utilized in the case of solving the previous example. So without wasting time, so let us directly go to the problem statement. Now in this problem statement, we are going to design a double stub parallel matching circuit, and this double stub matching circuit is short circuited at the ends, and I will read out the problem statement. This problem is taken from my own book, right? And you will find this problem on page number 183, that is the 22nd problem. Okay, so I will read out first the problem statement for you, and then step by step we will solve this example. So please remember, this is the second example on impedance matching circuit using a double stub tuner, in which we are going to see the second variant. Okay, a complex load impedance ZL is given, that is 25 plus J 14.5 ohm, and this complex load impedance need to be matched to the transmission line of characteristic impedance 50 ohm using a double section short circuit tuner matching circuit. Now here the stubs are separated, that means these two stubs are separated by a distance of lambda by 4 from each other. And here it is mentioned that the first stub is located at a distance of 0.12 lambda away from the load impedance. Okay, so this is a new thing in this design of double stub tuner circuit. Last time whatever problem we have solved in our previous lecture, so in that particular problem of a double stub tuner, we have assumed that the first stub is located on the load itself. But here there is a difference in this example. Here it is clearly mentioned that the first stub is located at some distance, that is 0.12 lambda away from the load impedance. Assume that the characteristic impedance of the stub is same as and design the matching circuit. Okay, so we need to design the parallel short circuited stubs which are lambda by 4 apart from each other, and additionally the location of the first stub is 0.12 lambda away from the load. Okay, so first of all we will make use of impedance chart for the design of this matching circuit, and first of all we will write what is the given data. So the given data is the load impedance 25 plus J 14.5 ohm. The characteristic impedance of the transmission line, it is 50 ohm, and please remember the same characteristic impedance is there for the stubs also. The spacing between the two stub is given, that is a small d equal to lambda by 4. And the important thing is the location of the first stub from the load is mentioned. Okay, so it is 0.12 lambda. So let us go ahead and solve this example. Okay, so first step, as usual, we perform. I will type here, we normalize and plot ZL. Okay, so after normalization, I will get small ZL, right? So which is nothing but what is the given value of impedance? The given value of impedance is 25 plus J 14.5. So here I will write that 25 plus J, how much it is? 14.5, right? So we will go step by step again, and please pay attention what steps I am performing and follow these steps along with me. Then you need to read, calculate this 25 by 50. Okay, so here 0.5, right? 25 by 50 is a 0.5. Okay, So 0.5 and plus j times 14.5 by 50. 14.5 divided by 50. We need to normalize real part and imaginary part as usual. So it is 0.29. Okay. So we first of all we will take a blank impedance chart, and in that chart we will plot this normalized value of load impedance. Please remember the value of this load impedance is 0.5 plus j 0.29. Okay, so we perform this operation. We'll open a Smith chart, new Smith chart. Okay, so this is the impedance Smith chart. The value of a load impedance is 0.5 real part and imaginary part is positive 0.29. 0.5, 0.29, right? Okay, so I will plot this. So 0.5 is this particular circle and 0.29 imaginary part is a positive. That means it will get located somewhere in the upper half. Okay, so 0.29. So 0.29, see over here, if you zoom in into this region, this is a 0.3 over here. Okay, so below that one division is representing 0.28. So somewhere here at the middle we will get, and the real part is 0.5. Okay, so this is a 0.5 circle. Okay, so this 0.5 circle and 0.29 as an imaginary part. Okay, so somewhere here at the middle I should draw it. So I will take a black color. I will increase the brightness level. Okay, I will take a black color and I will plot that point 0.5 and 0.29. So 0.5 is this circle which I am tracing, and here it is a 0.3, below that it is a 0.28. So somewhere here at the middle you can plot it in this way. Okay, so call this particular point as a ZL bar. Okay, so I will label it. Okay, so this point we call it as a ZL bar. Okay, so we plotted the impedance in the Smith chart, right? So we are utilizing original impedance chart. So what is the next procedure then? See here, I will write the next procedure. Say, as we are asked to design shunt stubs. Okay, so what we need to do then? We will transform the ZL, that is the load impedance, into admittance. So the admittance is given as a normalized admittance. It is indicated as a YL. Okay. So what is the procedure to convert the plotted normalized impedance into admittance? Again, the same method, that is the technique of drawing a VSWR circle and going opposite from the center of Smith chart and plotting a straight line. So the straight line, wherever it intersects that plotted VSWR circle, on the opposite end, we will get the equivalent admittance of the impedance point. Okay, so let us do that. So what we are performing now, we are converting this plotted impedance ZL into admittance. So the procedure is, first of all, you need to draw a VSWR circle, okay, which is passing through ZL bar. So we know that the VSWR circle is always located at the center of the Smith chart. So take your compass. Put the metallic part of your compass at the center of the Smith chart in this way. Okay. Take radius in your compass from the center of Smith chart to ZL bar point. So what we are doing is we are plotting the VSWR circle which is passing through ZL bar. So what you do is put your compass metallic part at the center of Smith chart. Take distance in your compass from the center of Smith chart to ZL bar point. Okay, and draw a constant radius VSWR circle. So for that, what I will do is I will choose the lime green color as per the sign convention that I am making use every time. So I will draw this is a circle, right? See, this circle is going to pass through that ZL bar point, and this green circle represent that it is a VSWR circle, right? So once you have plotted the VSWR circle, you note that it is passing through the ZL bar. So what is the next procedure to transform the ZL bar into YL bar? You take the scale, okay, or ruler, connect the center of the Smith chart right? Connect the center of the Smith chart with ZL bar point, right? Connect the center of Smith chart with ZL bar point and extend the line on the opposite side till it intersect the outer periphery of the Smith chart. So here I will select the yellow color as usual for labeling the lines, right? And what I will do is I will join the ZL bar point with the center of Smith chart and I will extend that line on the opposite side in this way, right? Okay. So in doing so, wherever this straight line is intersecting to that VSWR circle, so that point is nothing but our admittance. Okay, so I will choose again the black color. So wherever this straight line on the opposite side is intersecting to this green VSWR circle, so this is the point of admittance, equivalent admittance. Okay, so here I will write this point as YL bar. So this point is what? This point is, I will write as here YL bar. Okay, so we need to read the value of YL bar as well as we need to note down what is a WTG. Okay, so here first of all we will write what is the value of WTG, that is wavelength toward generator, which we have received at this particular intersection. We know that the wavelength toward generator we have got between 0.3 and 0.31. So 0.302, 304, 306, 308 and in between I got 0.307. So here I will write that WTG. So here I will write in a small case WTG. So this WTG is 0.307. 0.307 lambda, please remember. You need to always remember that you need to write in terms of wavelength lambda. Okay, and you also need to read the value of this particular admittance. Now we know that the real part of this admittance is this one. Say you can trace the conductance circle. Okay, so what we have performed, we have converted the ZL bar impedance into admittance. Originally we plotted the impedance in the Smith chart and the Smith chart was impedance Smith chart. Now what we did is we converted the impedance into admittance. So the Smith chart is now treated as an admittance chart rather than an impedance chart. Okay, so the circles which originally they were representing constant resistance circle, now they are representing constant conductance circle. But please remember that we need to follow the sign convention for taking the imaginary sign as per the original Z chart. Okay, so that we know as usual. So here what is the real part at admittance YL bar? So real part is what I am tracing over here and the real part is 1.6. Okay, and what is the imaginary part? Imaginary part is directly available. So you can trace this particular curve in this way and come along with down, it is a 0.9 and it is a negative. Okay, because it is a located in the lower half. So what I will get? I will get complete YL bar. So the YL bar value, the real value I got here, again I will read it. So the YL bar value is, say you can trace this conductance circle, right? And it is intersecting at 1.5, which is in between 1.4 and 1.6. So accurately it is 1.5. Okay, so I will write this real part as 1.5. And as it is located in the downside, we need to follow the sign convention of a imaginary part as per the Z chart. Please remember. So minus J because it is located in the downside. Okay. So what is the imaginary value? So the imaginary value you can trace out in this way. Okay. So it is approximately, if you trace this particular line of susceptance, so it is 0.9. Okay. So I will write it as a 0.9. 0.9. Okay, and we also need to write what is the WTG. So with WTG, so we have got the WTG value. We already wrote here the value is 0.307 lambda. So come back over here, the WTG I have got 0.307 and lambda. Okay, so I will insert the lambda symbol right? Okay, so what we have done, we have converted the load impedance into corresponding load admittance by drawing a VSWR circle. And this procedure is important because we want to design a shunt stub. So that's why we need to convert the impedance into admittance. Okay, so this step I hope you understood, and this is a very important step. Now let us go ahead and in step number 3. So what we need to do is we have located the load impedance. Now the next step is now locate the first stub. Okay, so it is given that I will type here. It is given that first stub is located at distance how much? It is given in the problem statement. It is first stub is located at 0.12 lambda away from the load at a distance 0.12 lambda. Okay, 0.12 lambda from the load. Okay, so from the load admittance, okay, so at the load admittance we have the WTG reading 0.307. So the location of the first stub will be 0.12 lambda away from 0.307. Okay, hence I will write the first stub is located at a distance equal to 0.307 because we need to start from the load, and at the load admittance what is the WTG? 0.307 lambda. Okay, plus 0.12 lambda we need to add because we need to travel 0.12 lambda on the VSWR circle, so that I will get the position of first stub. Okay, so how much it will be? So 0.307, okay, 0.307 plus 0.12. So the value is 0.427, okay, 0.427 lambda. Now please remember this location of the first stub is less than 0.5 lambda. So we need not to subtract because it is less than 0.5 lambda. We are not going to subtract 0.5. Only the case if this distance or the location of the stub is exceeding 0.5 lambda. In that particular case, we need to subtract 0.5 lambda, right? So here we got the position of the first stub at 0.427 lambda. Okay, so coming back to our Smith chart again. So here what we do is we will locate directly that particular point which is located at 0.427 lambda. So here 0.427 lambda, you need to first locate where it is located, 427. So it is a 4.41 over here. If you visualize 0.42 and 0.43 is here is a 0.428 somewhere here. Okay, so what I will do is first I will mark the position of this 0.427, right? So somewhere here in between 0.42 to 0.43 on WTG scale, which is there on the outermost periphery. Okay, so 0.27. So somewhere here, just before 0.28, midway over here, right? Okay, so this point is indicating that the location of the first stub is positioned over here, right? So what we do next is we will connect this point with the center of Smith chart. Okay, so when we connect this point with the center of Smith chart, we will intersect the VSWR circle. Okay, so the VSWR circle is already drawn over here, which is passing through while bar. Okay, so I will orient my scale, okay, in this way, and I will connect this point with the center of Smith chart. Okay, so this point is located at 0.427 lambda. Okay, in this way, adjust the scale. Okay, You need to take accurate. Okay, so I will choose again the yellow color for drawing a line, right? And what I will do is I will join the center of the Smith chart with this particular point. Okay, so what this point is located at? This point is located at 0.427 lambda. Okay, so here I will write the WTG is point, so rather I will make it 0 point, right, 427 lambda. Okay, so this is a 0.427 lambda. So wherever it intersects the VSWR circle, that is the position of our first stub. Okay, so this is the position of our first stub. So let us denote this position of the stub by Y1 point, and we read what is the admittance at that point. So here I will plot it at particular point. So, and I will call this point as Y1 bar, Y1 bar. Okay, so what is the Y1 bar is representing? Y1 bar is representing the position of the first stub from the load. Okay, and this position, so whatever this distance is there, this distance is 0.12 lambda, right? So even you can denote this distance. Okay, you can take the compass and you can show clearly this particular distance. Okay, so that you can visualize it. So I will choose this purple color and I will draw it from this to this. Okay, so this distance, I will remove this. Okay, please remember this distance is 0.12 lambda. Okay, this distance I will write here 0.12 lambda. Okay, so YL is the position of the load. From the load, the first stub, which is located at point number 1, is separated by 0.12 lambda. Okay, so we need to read the value of admittance at point number 1. Okay, so the admittance is approximately, if you trace this conductance circle, okay, so if you go on a real axis in this way, okay, so it is between 0.5 and 0.55. Okay, so 0.5 and 0.55, it is in between that. Okay, so here the value I got between 0.5 and 0.55. Okay, 0.05. Okay, so this divided by 2, 0.025. So 0.5 plus 0.025. So I'm going to get this value as 0.525 as a real part. So if you draw a conductance circle, you will get 0.525. Okay, so 0.525 is the real part. So here I will write. So here I write we get 0.1, which is location of the first stub, right? So what is the value of y1? Y1 bar here we get. So y1 bar here we get. What is the real value? Real value is 0.525, right? 0.525. Now what is the imaginary part? Imaginary part is again negative, and here you can trace that imaginary part. So it is approximately above this particular line. Okay, so if you draw a line from here and if you note down the susceptance, so it is roughly coming over here, one division above to 0.4 over here. So it is approximately, you can take and you can read it out as 0.38. Okay, so and it is negative. So here it is minus j 0.38. Okay, and what is the WTG here? With WTG, What is the WTG here? We got 0.427 lambda. Okay, 0.427 lambda. Hope you understood the procedure up to this point. Okay, so what we have done now in this particular step number 3, we have successfully located our first step, right? Now, what is the next step? The next step is to calculate the beta D amount. Okay, so we calculate beta D. Okay, product beta into D. So beta into D. So what is beta? Beta is 2 pi by lambda, right? I will insert the equation 2 pi divided by lambda, right? 2 pi by lambda, because beta is a phase shift. And what is a D? D is the spacing between the two stubs, which is given to us. So the D is lambda by 4. Okay, so D is lambda by 4. So here we come, D is lambda by 4, right, into lambda by 4. So here I will lambda by 4. Okay, so if you simplify 2 pi by lambda into lambda by 4, the lambda will get cancelled, right? And what it gives, 2 will come in the denominator, so it will be pi by 2. Okay, so it will give a pi by 2, right? So 2 pi by lambda, so the lambda will get cancelled, right? So it will give the result 2 pi by 4, and you can write it as a pi by 2. So the result is pi by 2. I write over here pi divided by 2. It is a radian, so pi by 2 is nothing but 90 degrees. Okay, so next is the important thing, that we draw a forbidden region. We draw forbidden conductance. Now we know that the forbidden region is specified by a conductance circle with a specific value. We draw a forbidden conductance circle. So how this conductance circle is given? G is equal to, yes, what is that particular formula of conductance circle? The conductance circle formula is G is equal to cosec square beta D from the earlier example. So I will write this formula as it is. I will copy from here, right? I will come here and I will write control V. Okay, so you substitute this value over here, 1 upon sine square beta D. Okay, so sine 90 degree. So here 90 degree of sine, we know that it is a 1. So sine 90 is 1, right? So sine 90 into sine 90, it is 1. Okay, so sine square, please remember. So sine square of beta D. You can write this as a sine of beta D multiplied by sine of beta D. So beta D is a 90 degree. So sine of beta D is 1. So 1 multiplied by 1 is again 1, and 1 divided by 1, again this particular will give us a 1. Therefore, a constant conductance circle or unit conductance circle of value 1 is going to give us the forbidden region, right? So here we plot and highlight this region. Okay, so what we do is, now we plot this forbidden region, and this forbidden region we will highlight with some suitable color. Okay, so here we calculated cosec square beta D 1 upon sine square beta D, and the forbidden conductance region we have got a normalized value of 1. So we need to locate where is that forbidden region. Okay, so this forbidden region is specified by a unit conductance circle, please remember. Okay, so what you need to do is, you need to first trace where is your conductance circle of value 1. We already know that the conductance circle of value 1 is nothing but unit conductance circle. So we draw that circle. Okay, so put the center of your compass on the real axis somewhere here. Okay, at the midpoint, increase the distance in your compass such that it will touch to a conductance circle of value is equal to 1 at the center of Smith chart. Okay, in this way. Okay, So what you do is put the metallic part of your compass on the right hand side of the real axis, okay, and adjust it such that you will get a center position somewhere. Take distance in your compass from that center point to the center of the Smith chart, okay, and draw a constant circle. Okay, so that is nothing but a unit conductance circle, and the unit conductance circle in this our example is representing the forbidden conductance circle. Okay, so here I will change the color. Okay, so here what I will do is I will choose this particular pink color, and right, and I will start drawing it. Right, so this pink color circle is indicating the forbidden region. Okay, so if you want, you can draw the hatching pattern also. Okay, so take the scale, now, or ruler, and show the hatching pattern into this particular region. Simple hatching pattern in this way. Draw the simple hatching. Don't draw too much. You simply show some simple lines, okay, inside the circle. So this is a forbidden region circle. Okay, so we already know what is the meaning of forbidden region. Forbidden region is the region into which if the transformed admittance point gets located, we cannot make use of double stub tuner to perform the impedance matching solution. Okay, so that's why it is very important for us to clearly highlight where the forbidden region is located. Okay, so whatever I'm drawing the hatching pattern, please remember this hatching pattern is represented as a forbidden region. Okay, so likewise you can draw it quickly. Few more lines. Don't draw too much lines because it will create a confusion later on. Give some intermediate spacing. Okay, so what I have drawn over here, the highlighted circle with a pink color, whatever I have made it marked with a hash pattern. So this circle represents the forbidden circle or forbidden region, which is given by the conductance circle using this particular equation. G is equal to cosec square beta d. Okay, so what is the next step then? The next step is to draw the tuner circle. So we draw a tuner circle. Okay, so what is a tuner circle? Tuner circle is unit conductance circle itself rotated anti-clockwise by 2 beta d amount, 2 into beta d. I will insert the equation 2 into beta into d. So what is a 2 beta d amount? Already we know what is a beta d. Beta d is a 90 degree. So multiplied by 2, I will get 180 degree. Okay. So a tuner circle is a unit conductance circle rotated anti-clockwise by an amount 180 degree. Okay. So we plot this circle. Now we already know that how to plot this particular circle. The unit conductance circle is itself representing the forbidden region. And the same circle we want to rotate because it is representing the unit circle only, which is a forbidden region itself, right? So this circle is located at 0 degree. I will consider the horizontal real axis on the right hand side as a 0 axis. Now when I will come over here, it will be 90 degree. And when I come on the left hand side real axis, as I rotate this circle the long way in anti-clockwise in this direction, this circle will get located over here. Okay, so let us draw that particular circle. Okay, so again take your compass, put this compass metallic part somewhere on the real axis. Okay, and you need to adjust the radius or the distance in your compass such that it will touch the center of the Smith chart over here and on the left hand side over here. So you take suitable distance in your compass, put the metallic part of your compass at the center of Smith chart. Okay, you adjust the location of your center point such that you can touch at on the right hand side the real axis going through Z0 point, and on the left hand side it should touch at this particular point. Okay, so you take the distance in compass in that way. Okay, and then you draw the tuner circle. Okay, so for tuner circle what I will do is I will take this light blue color. Okay, and I will draw this tuner circle. Now this light blue colored circle is a tuner circle, please remember. Okay, so this tuner circle I have drawn. So here I will write in the PowerPoint presentation. So here what should I write? So this circle, okay, this circle I will write for your understanding is shown with light blue color in order to understand, right? So similarly the forbidden region is shown with a pink color. Okay, so the tuner circle is now drawn. Now what is the next step then? The next step is you need to start tracing constant conductance circle. Okay, you need to start tracing constant conductance circle from the first position of the stub. Now where is the first position of the stub? Which is located at a y1. Okay, so here I will write the theory. So what I will write here, now start tracing constant conductance circle passing through y1 in clockwise direction till we intersect tuner circle. Okay, so first of all let us draw this conductance circle which is passing through this y1 bar point. Okay, and then we will start tracing on that particular circle in a clockwise direction so that it will cut the tuner circle, this blue circle, at two different points, and then we need to locate these 2 points. These 2 points are known as a design points. Okay, so our next task is to draw a conductance circle which is passing through this y1 bar. Okay, so what I will do, we already know how to draw a conductance circle by manually constructing it, right? So what we know is this point and the right hand side point, they are located on the chord of that circle. So what I will do is I will choose a ruler, right? Say, we already discussed how to draw manually the conductance circle. So the same procedure I am performing by using that perpendicular bisector method. So what I will do is this point y1 bar and this point on the right hand side. These 2 points are located on that circle, and when I join this particular line, I will get chord of that conductance circle. Once you get the chord of that conductance circle, you divide that chord exactly at the midway and draw a perpendicular bisector. That bisector will divide the real axis somewhere. Now that point is the center point of our conductance circle. Okay, and then we can draw the conductance circle. Okay, so let us do this procedure. So here accurately you need to locate these 2 points, right? And what I will do is I will choose the color. Now I will choose a very light color and I will decrease the thickness because this is an extra construction that we are making in our Smith chart. See what I had drawn here, a straight line with this yellow color, and I have connected y1 bar with this particular point on the right hand side. So this is representing, this straight line is representing the chord of my conductance circle, right? Then what you do is you measure what is the length of this chord in centimeters, okay, and divide it exactly halfway. So it is, now I will count, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and approximately 10. Approximately it is 10. So what I will do is I will divide this chord into two parts so that I will put a position at 5 centimeter. So I will choose a black color over here in order to put the center position exactly at the halfway of this line. 2, 3, 4, and 5, somewhere here. Okay. So what I did is, so here if you observe, this particular circle is representing the midway point. So what you need to do is you orient your scale perpendicular to that point, exactly making a right angle in this way. Okay. So it should be oriented such that it should be exactly perpendicular to that particular chord in this way. And what you do is you draw the perpendicular bisector line which will intersect the real axis in this way. This is that line. Okay, so it will intersect over here, right? So wherever this perpendicular bisector is intersecting the real axis, so there I will get the position of the center of my conductance circle, which I want to draw it now. So here is the center. Okay. So what you do now is take your compass, put this compass at this point where you got the intersection with the real axis. See here, again I will show you by zooming in. Here I got that intersection point. Okay, so take your compass, put the metallic part of your compass at this point. Okay, you take the distance in your compass from the center of this point to the right hand side point. Please remember, this much distance you take in a compass. So how much distance you need to take from this particular point to the point on the right hand side in this way, right? And once you took that much distance in your compass, draw the conductance circle. Okay, so this conductance circle I will draw with blue color. Okay, see, I will start from here and I will start drawing, right, in this way, all way long in this way, and I will complete. After that, you remove your compass. Okay, so here you can clearly observe that I have drawn the blue circle. Okay, so this blue circle is representing a constant conductance circle passing through y1 bar. Okay, so what you need to do next is start traveling on this constant conductance circle starting with point y1. Okay, so start traveling. So I will travel in this way clockwise. Please remember the arrow direction, whatever I am marking over here, you can visualize. So I am starting traveling on this conductance circle in a clockwise direction. Okay. So in doing so, you recall that I will cut this circle, tuner circle at this particular point. Okay. So wherever this tracing cuts the tuner circle. Okay. So where it cuts the tuner circle? Here. Okay. So still continue. So wherever this traveling cuts the tuner circle, so there you get the design point. There you get the design point. So this design point I denote with a black color. So there you will get an intersection. Okay. So this is the design point. I will call it as a point A. Please remember. Okay. So here you will get the first design point, and similarly the all way long if you travel in this way clockwise direction, again at some other point you will again intersect with this tuner circle, that is light blue circle. Okay, so this point again is the design point, so I will denote that point also. So here also you will get another intersection, and this point we call it as a point B. Okay, so please remember here both design points are valid, and you can take any one point for designing the first step, right? So here I will write in the PowerPoint. So what we have done, we started tracing the constant conductance circle passing through y1 in a clockwise direction till we intersect tuner circle at point A and B. Okay, point A and B both are valid design points, and any one point can be taken for designing, because we know that if you take both of these 2 points we will get two unique solution to design the first step. So it is not required right now to design the two different solution. So what I will do is I will go ahead and I will take the point A for design consideration. Okay, so you can take point B also. Okay, so whatever point you will meet first while traveling a clockwise direction, try to take that point as a design point, right? So point A and point B are valid design points, and any one point can be taken for designing the stuff. Okay, so what we do here, we take point A. Okay, so at point A you measure the admittance, normalize admittance, so which is written as a YA. Okay, so you measure what is the admittance at point A. The real part will remain same because it is on the same conductance circle as that of the Y1. Okay, so whatever it has the conductance at Y1, right? So here at Y1, the conductance was 0.525. The same conductance is there because it is located on the same 0.525. Okay, what is the imaginary part? So it is located on the upper half, so we need to take it a positive, and the imaginary part, the susceptance, is approximately, if you trace this arc over here, right, so it is approximately 0.5. Okay, so you can write positive 0.5. So here I got J 0.5. Okay, and we also need to write what is the WTG at point A. So at point A I need to draw a straight line which is passing through the center and extending on the outer periphery, right? So take the scale again, join point A with the center of Smith chart, join point A with the center of Smith chart, and extend the line on the outer periphery in this way. Again I will choose the light yellow color for drawing the straight line. So what I'm doing, I'm joining the center of the Smith chart with point A in this way. I have drawn a line, okay, and extend it on the outer periphery and read what is the WTG value there. Okay, so the WTG value 0.082848688. Okay, so approximately I can take 0.08284, 0.086, 0.088. So here I got the WTG. I will write here WTG. Here at point A I got 0. I will write here 0 88 lambda. So in the slide I will write that value. The WTG I got here is 0.088 lambda. Insert a symbol lambda. Okay, so at the design point we have noted down what is the admittance and what is the WTG. Okay, so next step is I will duplicate this slide, right, and I will remove this all in this slide, and the next step number is step number 8, right? So in step number 8, we will find change in susceptance value, change in susceptance value while traveling from point point y1, that is the first position of the step, to ya. Okay, so here what is that change in the susceptance? Because please remember over here ya point has the same real part as that of the y1. Okay, so we started from y1 and we came at ya. If you notice on the Smith chart, we were over here at y1, which is at a stub number 1. Now that stub number 1 is transformed to position number A, and it is on the same conductance circle, so it will only change the susceptance. So we need to take the difference of susceptance at point 1 and at point A. Okay, so here I will write that. So the change in the susceptance from minus 0.38 to plus 0.5. Okay, so make sure that you have read that value correctly. Okay, so here I will write the change in the susceptance is the change that made the susceptance minus 0.38 to plus j 0.5. So that is the change. So how it will be denoted? So the change is given by, how it is given? What is the value at point y1? At point y1, the value was minus j 0.38. So I will write here minus j 0.38. So rather I will take this on a new line, minus j 0.38. What we should add into this? Okay, I will mark a question so that I will get the susceptance at point number A, and the susceptance at point number A was 0.5, j 0.5. Okay, so 0.5. Okay, so what this question mark? This question mark will give us the change in the susceptance, right? So you just evaluate what is this change in susceptance. So this question mark you just evaluate. So 0.5, when 0.38 goes on the right hand side, it will get added with 0.5. So it will be simply the addition 0.5. Okay, and this will get added when 0.38 comes on the right hand side, it will get added 0.38. Okay, so what the susceptance will become now? The susceptance will become positive 0.88. Okay, so 0.88, j 0.88. Okay, so what we do is, now we plot this change in susceptance on the Smith chart and calculate short circuit shunt stub length from its WTG readings, right? Okay, so what you need to do is, you plot this change in susceptance. The change in susceptance is j 0.88. Please again remember that we are following the sign convention as per the Z chart, and this is a positive value, so that means it is located in the upper half of the Smith chart, and the value of imaginary part is 0.88. So first let us plot this point in the Smith chart, plus j 0.88. So plus j 0.88 somewhere in between 0.8 and 0.9. I will zoom in into this region. You can clearly visualize here it is 0.8 and 0.89. So we want to plot a point 0.88, which is closer to 0.9. Okay, so somewhere here you can plot this point. So I will choose approximately Okay, I will increase the thickness a little bit further. Okay, so near to 0.9 somewhere here. Okay, so this point is going to represent, what this represent is, I will reduce the weight. Okay. So what this point is representing, this point represent J 0.88, right? That is the imaginary part, please remember, which is located on the periphery of the Smith chart. So what next you need to do is connect this imaginary point which we have plotted with the center of Smith chart. Okay. So take the scale, orient the scale such that connect this plotted imaginary part with the center of Smith chart. In this way. Take again the yellow color as usual and draw a straight line. Okay, and read what is the value of WTG there. So the value of WTG I am getting around, you can say 0.11 and 0.12 in between. WTG value 0.112, 114 and around 0.116 you can write. So here I will write the WTG. WTG is point, we'll take the black color again. So here I got the WTG of this imaginary point equal to, so you need to mention all the WTG values whatever you will be encountering in the design solution. It is approximately 112, 114, 116 I will take. Okay, 0.116 lambda, right? 116 lambda. So I will write over here. So WTG is 0.116 lambda. Please remember. Okay. So how the length of the first stub is then given? So here I will write, hence the length of first stub is simply given by subtracting the WTG readings at the admittance short circuit point with this particular point. So first of all, you need to locate where is the admittance short circuit point in the Smith chart. Okay, so this is the impedance Smith chart originally. So Z is equal to infinity over here. So this point is representing admittance short circuit. So here I will denote that. I will take the black color again. I will increase the thickness a little bit. Okay, so this particular point, okay, so what it represent? It represent admittance Y is equal to 0. Please remember. So this represent short circuit point for the admittance. So here we need to read what is a WTG. We already know that the WTG over here is always 0.25. So you mark that this way. And here you can mark the line. So what this line is indicating? It is 0.25 lambda. Okay, so what is the value of WTG here? It is, I will write over here 0.25 lambda. Okay, so from this point, from this line, right, from this line you need to locate this particular line which we right now plotted for that imaginary part, and this much distance is nothing but the length of your stub. Okay, so what I will do is I will take the compass now. I'll put the compass at the center and I will highlight this distance. Okay, so what I will do is I will mark it in this way. Okay, so from which point to which point? So from this line, the horizontal line at 0.25 lambda to this particular yellow line. Okay, so mark the position, choose again the purple color from here, right, in this way, and all way around this particular line, this one. Okay, so once you reach here, you can put the arrow, and what this indicates, so the distance from this horizontal line at y is equal to 0, representing short circuit condition for admittance, where the WTG is 0.25, you have traveled this much distance. Okay, so actually please remember, when you travel from this point to this line over here, you are completing 0.25 lambda, because here the reading is 0.5. So 0.5 on the left hand side minus 0.25. So this half circle tracing will corresponds to 0.25. You are going beyond it. So you need to add this much distance. So this much distance is already 0.116 lambda. So 0.116 lambda need to be added into half semicircle tracing, which is 0.25 lambda. Okay. So here in the solution, what I will do is, the length of the first stub is, how it is given, it is absolutely 0.5 lambda, right, minus, on the right hand side we have 0.25 lambda, right, and into that we need to add this much distance. The distance is which, from this particular point to this particular line, and it is directly given, it is a 0.116. Okay, so I will add that. Okay, I hope you understood how I took the distance calculation. Okay, again I will repeat. So see here in the Smith chart, what I want is, I want to calculate the total distance. Okay, so here I will indicate this as a length L1. Okay, so this total distance L1 is from this particular line, which is starting at a 0.25, to this particular line. So this particular line horizontally it is at 0.5. So 0.5 minus 0.25, you will get this much half circle distance. And into that you need to add this much, because we want to reach at this particular line. So 0.5 minus 0.25 plus 0.116. So it will give us the location, the length of stub. And this comes out to be, if you calculate, so 0.25 lambda, right, 0.25 lambda plus, what is the value, 0.116. 0.25 plus 0.116, it is 0.366 lambda. Okay, so I will get 0.366 lambda. So the half of the solution is now achieved, and we have successfully calculated the length of the first stub. And this length of the first stub is admittance short circuit, or it is also known as a short circuit length parallel stub. Okay, so half of the solution is over. Now what we need to do is, we need to locate our second stub. Okay, so we have successfully designed the first stub. Now we want to locate where is the second stub. Okay, so how that can be done? We know that the separation between the two stub is given. The separation between the two stub is 0.25 lambda, and we know where is the first stub located right now. Okay, so the first stub was originally located at point y1. Now it has been transformed to a new point over here. Now a point A is representing the transformed position of first stub. So here I will write point A indicates transformed position of the first stub. So from here we travel how much distance, so that we can reach to the position of the second stub? We need to travel lambda by 4, that is 0.25 lambda. So we need to travel from here the distance 0.25 lambda. So I will write here, right, 0.25 lambda to reach position of the second stub, right? So what is the WTG at point A? So already we marked the WTG at point A is 0.088. Okay, so what you need to do is, you add 0.25 lambda into that, okay, and travel on its VSWR circle. So what we need right now is we need to draw another VSWR circle which is passing through point A. So take the compass, put the metallic part of your compass at the center of Smith chart. Take distance in your compass from the center of Smith chart to point A. Okay, so what you do is put your metallic part of the compass at the center of Smith chart. Take distance in your compass from the center of Smith chart to point A in this way. Okay. Once you have taken that much distance in your compass, draw a constant VSWR circle. Okay. So this is the second VSWR circle we are drawing, which is passing through Y1. Okay. This way. So here I will draw in this way and then continuously over here so that I will show it in a continuous way. Okay. So this bigger green circle, which is the outer bigger green circle, is indicating the VSWR circle, which is passing through point A. Okay. So here we need to locate the second position of the stub. So here, position of the second stub, how it is given then? Position of the second stub equal to. So from where you need to start? You need to start at point A. Okay, and you need to travel always clockwise on that green VSWR circle. Okay, so how much distance you need to travel from A? 0.25 lambda, because we know that second stub is located at 0.25 lambda away from the first stub. Okay, so point A is representing first stub. So at point A it is 0.088 lambda, right? 0.088 lambda. So that is the wavelength toward generator scale at first stub. So into this, what I need to do is I need to add lambda by 4. See the spacing lambda by 4 so that I will reach the position of second step. So lambda by 4 is 0.25 lambda. You add this into this value and calculate how much is the distance. 0.088, right? And what is the other value? You need to add into this how much? Lambda by 4 so that you can reach at the position of second step. So 0.25 lambda. So it is 0.338 lambda. So here I will write 0.338 lambda. So put the equation of lambda. So here at this WTG, we get second stub. Okay. So 0.338 lambda. You locate on that VSWR circle. So where is 0.338 lambda? Okay. What is that value that we have got? 0.338 lambda. So 0.088 was the first transform point. Okay, so we need to locate 0.338 lambda WTG. So it comes around 0.338 lambda. See here it is 0.33, 0.332, 0.334, 0.336. See here I am zooming. You need to read in a reverse way. 0.33, 332, 334, 336, 338 over here. So I will choose the black color now and I will put this position 0.338 means 4 divisions 1, 2, 3 and 4 over here. Okay. So what you do is take your scale now and join this WTG value which we have plotted over here with the center of Smith chart. So what I located 0.338 WTG. Okay, and then at this marking, I will join this point with the center of Smith chart. Right, in this way. Again, take the yellow scale and decrease the thickness to 2. Okay, and then simply draw a line. Okay, so here I will denote what is the WTG over here. So the WTG over here is 0.338 lambda. So I will write that. So here the WTG is 0.338 lambda. You need to write each and every WTGs, whatever you are calculating in your Smith chart, right? So 0.338 lambda. So whatever this line we have drawn, this line is intersecting the VSWR circle, the outermost VSWR circle, which is passing through A somewhere. So wherever it is intersecting to that VSWR circle, denote that point of intersection. You will find that this particular point is exactly located on unit conductance circle, right? And it is on the exact boundary of forbidden region, but still it is outside of it. Okay, so this particular point we call it as a position of our second step, and I will denote it by y2 bar. Okay, so here what is the real part of this position? So the intersection of this yellow straight line with a VSWR circle I have got at the real part is 1. Okay, and the imaginary part you can draw in this way, come down over here. It is in between 0.9 and 1, so it is around 0.95, right? So what is the real part? Real part is a 1, so here I will write in the second stub. So this second stub is denoted by y2. Okay, so what is the value of y2? Real part is 1. What is the imaginary part? Please remember, the real part always you need to get 1, and then only it indicates a correct design. Okay, and what is the imaginary part? The imaginary part is approximately, see here you can trace in this way, just follow the cursor movement, and when you come over here it will be around minus 0.95 because it is between 0.9 and 1. So I will take correct 0.95 minus j 0.95. Okay, and what is the WTG? WTG is 0.338 lambda, as we already calculated, right? Now it is a simple step is remaining in order to find the length of the second stub. Say, in order to find the length of the second stub, we need to cancel this imaginary part so that the second stub is remaining with only real value 1. So in order to calculate length of second stub, we eliminate imaginary part at point y2. Okay, so at second stub we need to remove this imaginary part. So how you will remove this imaginary part? Okay, so this imaginary part will get removed by adding same value with opposite polarity of the imaginary part. Okay, so this can be done by plotting opposite value plus j 0.95 on the Smith chart. Okay, so what you do is you plot the susceptance value positive 0.95. Please follow the sign convention of original Z chart. So it will be located in the upper half. So 0.95. So where it comes? 0.95. Somewhere in the upper. Okay. See here. If you zoom in into this particular region, it is 0.9 over here, 1 is over here, and 0.95 is over here. So what I will do is I will denote this particular point 0.95 exactly at this point. Okay, and what is this value? This value I will write over here. It is j 0.95 positive, right? j 0.95. Okay, so what you do now is you join this particular point with the center of Smith chart and extend the line and read WTG. So take the scale again, orient the scale, join this with the center of Smith chart this way. Okay, fine. Take the yellow color again from the center of Smith chart, that means from here. You need to draw a straight line in this way, right? I'm drawing the straight line and read WTG here. That is the WTG of this line now. Here I will denote with a black color the WTG of this line. Okay, you read it. So this WTG I need to write. So this will I will read it out now. So this WTG is approximately around 0.121, or you can take approximately equal to 0.121 you can take, because in between this is located in between 0.12 and 0.122 lambda. So you can take it as 0.121 lambda. So here I will write 0.121 lambda. Okay, so this WTG of this particular imaginary part, just we have right now located WTG, it gives us around how much? 0.121 lambda. So I will write that 0.21 lambda. Okay, then how to find the length of short circuit parallel stub? Okay, then the length of second parallel short circuit stub is then given as, how it is given then? Say, where is a short circuit point? Again, the right hand side point over here is representing the short circuit point for the admittance. So you need to locate this particular drawn straight line from this particular horizontal line. Okay, so here this particular distance will indicate, so I will denote over here with a purple color. Okay, I'll use a compass. I will put the compass at the center, and how much distance we want to cover. Okay, so the distance that we want to cover is from this line to this particular line, this third line, right? Okay, or rather I will make it big so that we can visualize it clearly. So the distance from this to this horizontal line at 0.25 lambda to this third line. Okay, so I will draw it from here to this particular line. This is just for the purpose of showing the distance, right? You can remove this. Okay, and you mark the arrow direction over here. This is this distance starting from y is equal to 0. Starting from this point, you go all the way along this. Okay, and what this purple color line is indicating, this will give you the length of second step. Again, you need to calculate the length of second step. How you will calculate? From here 0.25 lambda to 0.5 lambda. So what is the difference again? 0.25 lambda, add 0.121 lambda into that. Okay, so the length of the second step is given by, so length of second step is equal to, right, 0.5 lambda okay minus 0.25 lambda, the other side point, right? And we need to add a distance of 0.121 lambda additionally. Okay, the way in which we did earlier, 0.121 lambda, right? So what is the total distance then? this total distance comes out to be 0.25 plus 0.121. 0.25 plus 0.121. So this will give me 0.371 lambda. 0.371 lambda. Okay. To insert a lambda, and this is the complete solution of double stub tuner circuit with the case when the first load is located at some distance away from the load. Okay, so this will give the solution. So here I will write the solution is length of the first stub. Okay, so this length I will call it as a L1. So this length I have got 0.366 lambda, right? And the length of the second stub on similar line, so that I will denote by L2. Okay, so what is that value? We have got 0.371 lambda. Okay, length of the second stub I have got 0.371 lambda. Insert the symbol again. Okay, and finally what you need to draw is the schematic. Okay, so meanwhile what I'll do is, this is the solution, so I will save this solution. Okay, so first of all I will draw the diagram for this one. Okay, so the diagram will be the same diagram. You can pick it up the diagram from here. Okay, so that you can, or otherwise you can take the diagram from earlier one. So from here also you can pick the diagram. In this way I will pick up this diagram. Okay. I will copy this because I need the same diagram representing the two-stub circuit. Okay, new slide, and here I will add that figure. Okay, let's see. Here I will give the name as circuit schematic. Circuit schematic. So this is for example number 8, circuit schematic example 8, right? And here I need to control V, not this one. Again you take the diagram because I have repeated the task. Take this diagram from here, right? Because I want the same schematic. Control C. Come back to our main slide over here. Control V. Okay, so what you do is you take this diagram exactly at the center. Okay, so this is the circuit schematic, right? For example number 8. So here I will give the title as circuit schematic for example 8. That is the second example of a double stub. Okay, so here the length is non-zero. Okay, so what was the length over here? The first stub is located at 0.122 lambda, right? So how much distance? The first stub is located at 0.12 lambda away from the load. So that was given. So that I will write 0.12 lambda. Okay, so and what is the load impedance? You need to also write what is the given value of load impedance. 25 plus j 14.5. Okay, so here I will write 25 plus j 14.5 ohm. Okay, you adjust it so that you will get this value. Okay, so what is the d specified? D, that is the separation between the two stub. The separation between the two stub was mentioned to be d is equal to lambda by 4, right? Or 0.25 lambda. You can write in either way, lambda by 4, the spacing between these two stub, right? And finally, you need to write the impedance value, characteristic impedance value of the transmission line with which we matched the complex load impedance, that is a 50 ohm, right? And here you need to specify what are the short circuited lengths for the first and second step, 0.366, 0.371. So here what I will do is I will take it downside 0.366 lambda. I will write, right, 0.366 lambda, right? And the second length I have got around, what is the value? It is 0.371 lambda. So here I will write 0.371 lambda. 371, insert the lambda symbol. Okay, and this will give the complete solution. Okay, so if you observe over here, today we have gone through the second example of a double stub tuner circuit. So this was the problem statement, and in this problem statement we have seen a particular case of a double stub matching circuit in which the first stub is located at certain distance away from the load. The rest of the procedure is remaining same as that of the first example. Okay, so here I declare that successfully we have solved both the different varieties of double stub matching circuit. Okay, so in the next time what we will see is we will see the drawback of double stub tuner circuit and how to come over that drawback by using a triple stub circuit. Please remember, the design of a triple stub is not required, but only we will study it theoretically. And finally, we will see and we will explore the different types of special planar transmission line which are very popularly used in microstep circuit, okay, or in microwave circuits. So the special type of a transmission, planar transmission line, and the theory of a triple stub we will see in our next lecture. And more or less in the next lecture we will completely finish the model number 1. So here I hope you understood this second design problem by using a double stub tuner circuit, and I will stop over here. Thank you very much.